So comparing a BMW S1000RR Super Sport to a Triumph Street Triple Sport Naked, it's a bit unfair. Yeah, they're different bikes, but they are both a popular road bike. So I'm going to compare it because here I am sat on a Street Triple, so why not? What's the differences between them? Well, the main thing is going to be comfort and everyday usability. When it comes to the Triumph Street Triple, it is such a good all-rounder. The seat is comfortable, whereas on the 1000RR, I took out the M Sport version and that seat was just made of cardboard. After 2 hours, it was painful.
Yep, that is completely true. If you get the M Sport version, and I'm pretty sure the full M version of the S1000RR, then the seat is made of cardboard. It is like all race seats, I imagine. It's a complete afterthought, made of cardboard, and after 2 hours my bum was numb, and I mean like gone of sensation. It was, you know, I think if I stayed on it more than 2 hours I probably would have been bruised. It's shockingly shit, but in its defense, it is for race, and you will be probably wearing a race suit, and they usually have padding in the buttocks, so it probably wouldn't be that bad. Then of course there is the saving grace of, say, this bike here that has the sport seat. So this is not the M seat, so it hasn't got the M badge on it, which means it actually has a little bit of padding. Now, not a lot. It could do with a bit more. It's certainly, you know, not a seat for touring, but again, there are ways around that, such as you've got gel seats, you've got air seats. So those are the little ones you just inflate, wrap it around the bottom. They again look shit, so they're not a design piece by any stretch of the imagination, but if you are going on a tour, they can serve the job, so there is a bit of function there. But yep, the seat is pretty shit, but there are ways around it, and of course there is the elephant in the room here, which is the BMW comfort seat. Comfort. Now, I initially was very excited about that and thought that's the kitty for me. However, reading the reviews on it, people have said on the interwebs that the seat adds height to the bike, a bit more height. I'm not sure exactly on the figures, but I am almost at tippy toes now, so adding height to the bike is not something I wanted to do, and the people's reviews of the seat was it's actually not really that good, so might as well save yourself 200 quid and just go with the air or gel alternatives. But yep, seat's not brilliant, but BMW M seat, about 2 hours you can handle it. With the sport seat, I can, at 2 hours I'm starting to feel it. I haven't gone longer, I've stopped at that point, but in time I'll be able to tell you if my arse gets used to it or if I've succumbed and bought a air seat. But that said, if I'm doing a tour, I would definitely be on an air seat, and that would be in the panniers on the bike, if that happens.
Then you've got, obviously, you know, the super sport position, where you're in a super sport position and you're back. If you want to see me riding my friend John's RSV, there'll be a link up here, and my back just doesn't cope with the super sport position at all, as does my wrists with clip-ons. So as opposed to here where I've got nice big open bars, with clip-ons down here, you're putting more weight forward and that's causing you wrist strain. And also I get on my pads here where that really starts to hurt after a while with clip-ons. I still get it to an extent on the triple, but nowhere near as much.
Now comfort and riding position. This is where the BMW actually gets very interesting. This is what surprised me, was jumping on the bike. The position is super sport, yeah, for sure, but it's not a bad super sport position. It is comfortable, dare I say it. I mean, this is as good as a super sport is going to get. I mean, you can do the 150 mile an hour fun stuff and still not completely break your back. I mean, okay, there is going to be, you know, a sacrifice. It's at 2 hours I'm starting to feel it, you know. I wouldn't mind a break, and to be fair, that's where it's actually really a good thing to have a BMW S1000RR in a pack, because at the end of the day, if you turn around and say, does anyone want to swap bikes, the hands go up left, right and centre. So there's no issue there. You just literally jump off onto somebody else's more comfortable bike for an hour, get your back in order and then jump back on it. But there are saving tips. You'll see here I'm resting on the tank. My throttle hand is off because I've engaged the cruise control. Cruise control on a bike is just, it's amazing. I mean, I've never had it on a bike, and I thought, why would you want to? And on this bike especially, it makes such a difference, because why would you want to is when you're feeling a bit fatigued and you just need a little rest, get that feeling back in your hands. And secondly, it'll save your license, you know what I mean? When you're going through a village at 30, set the cruise control, have a little respite, and that way you're not bombing through the village at 100 miles an hour. So yes, it's really, really comfortable for a super sport bike. Would I want to go on a long tour with it? I could do it, but like I say, I will be swapping bikes. But the comfort side of things is not to be underestimated. It's worth sitting on one for a couple of hours and make your own opinion up. Now on the wrists, my wrists do suffer on super sports, without a shadow of a doubt, and I also get the bit here, you know, the pad, where my pad actually is, usually on my throttle side. And I've got to say, on the 1000RR I haven't had that issue. It's been not a problem. There has been a little bit of strain even on the triple with my accelerator wrist, but all in all on here I'm pretty happy with the position and the setup. It's probably, you know, usually whenever I get clip-ons, that's it, my wrists are hammered, but no issues at all on this.
1000RR is special, but you know, for everyday riding, when it comes to power delivery, top speed, all of that jazz, this is, you know, more than enough.
Power. Now, as you can see from the visor, it is a typical English day. A little bit of sun, a little bit of rain, roads are a bit greasy. I am in rain mode because of this. I'm running the engine in also still, so I am on the restricted horsepower side of things. But power, oh my goodness, on this, it's just amazing. But what I will say is it's a litre bike, and you know it's a litre bike when you put it in the modes, but the power is manageable. Now, every litre bike I've jumped on, without exception, has scared the shit out of me. All of those bikes, you know that, you know, a simple lapse of concentration and it's gonna kill you. The bike wants to fucking kill you. BMW, on the other hand, they want you to carry on buying BMWs. So they have put anti-wheelie, anti-lean, anti-brakes, anti-death, anti-fuck off, anti-fucking everything on this. And when it's enabled, my God, can you ride? I mean, it just encourages you to push on. The power delivery here is just lovely. It's just relaxed, it's subdued. If you want it to be insane, the modes are there. I mean, at the moment it's wet, so I'm in rain, but you know, when you move up to street and dynamic, those modes are just fantastic. I mean, race is beyond me. You won't be seeing me in race anytime soon, but for road and dynamic, those modes are just absolutely delicious. They are so good, so wanting you to just, you know, push on and lean it. It's you've got to go out and ride it to know what I'm on about. It is just on a damp wet day like today. I've always just gone out and enjoyed the ride, but on this I'm cursing the weather. I'm like, if only it was dry, if only it was dry and I could just, you know, just lean around this corner here, you know. You're just like, it's definitely, although it can handle all the weathers, you've got to have that restraint in yourself to be like, today I'm going to just hold back and not go too mad with it. Because you, especially on a fucking road like this, you know, you're just like, look, you know, you can just see, look at the surface of this road, you just know that's a fucking crash waiting to happen if you go for it. But you want to go for it, you know, it's just, look at this, you're just like, can I, you know. I mean, that is the problem, the straight line warrior in you, or in me, wants to just go down here going, Raap! And of course, then you're wondering, why the fuck did my wheel light up and spin like a motherfucker? Well, let me tell you, Dom, it's because you twisted that wrist on a summer tyre on a wet road, you twat. But the BMW computer says, I like you, twat face, you bought me. I will keep you safe. And it flashes orange things at you to say, hello, I'm here, saving your life. And that's nice to see. I mean, in the dry, this just grips and grips and grips. It's unbelievable. You can't help but cross the white line and just twist it that little bit more than you ordinarily would. Summer days.
Because the RR is a different league, but you know, on the street triple you've got all the other points that, you know, you can sit on it and ride it for longer. You'll be able to do a tour on it. It is far more versatile with, if you need to just go over a little bit of grass, mount a curb, all of those types of things. So for a day to day, this is the all-round undisputed king. Well, I'm not going to argue with myself. The street triple is still, in my opinion, the best all-round motorcycle you can get, especially for the money. The street triple is a fantastic everyday use motorbike. It can be taken on the road as well as a little bit off the road, and by that I don't mean green laning. I mean, you can go over curbs, you can go across a field if the field's flat enough. It's great in all weathers. You can strap some luggage to it and do a tour. It's also a great track bike if that is something that you want to do. So yeah, the street triple is still the undisputed king. And if you haven't got the budget for a brand new one, you can go all the way back through the line and they're equally as good. I mean, obviously the newer you get, the more refined it is and the better of a bike. If you have to have new, then a great alternative is the 790 Duke. Really impressed with that bike. 790 Duke's about 7 grand, brand spanking new. Equivalent street triple is 10 grand, and then you're looking at 12 for the RS. But then you're gonna wonder, what's this doing here? Well, it's not just any S1000 RR. This happens to be my S1000 1000 RR. And no matter what you say about practicalities and use and everyday riding, this is just a sheer masterpiece. And if you go just ring up your local BMW, take one out for a test ride, and then you'll realize that no matter what you say about any bike out there, this is what you want.